When we're talking about promotion, a lot of it is going to be DIY, the social media posts or other guerrilla marketing that you engage in. But there is also the possibility that you can get your name in the paper. Promotion can distinguish between earned media, when somebody writes about you because you convince them that you are newsworthy, and paid media, where you paid for it. Earned media ranges from the listings of your exhibition to a preview where they highlight your show specifically, to reviews about your work, to feature articles about you and your process or some interesting project that you've got going on, or because you wrote it. Either you actually wrote it under your byline, or you put together such a good promotional package that essentially all they did was cut and paste to create an article about you. For paid media, you've got the digital or printed self-promotional materials that you could create, ranging from postcards and brochures all the way up to catalogs that you could send out to potential collectors. Or you could buy ads, both from the social media companies and from print or digital media. There are also some pretty shady media companies where if you pay them enough, they'll write an article about you. That sounds like something you don't want to get mixed up in. To get earned media, you need to consider it from their point of view. First, their timeline will be much longer than you think it might be. Magazines, for instance, are usually working a minimum of 6 months in advance, and sometimes even a year or longer. Even daily newspapers need a lot of lead time. Assume that you want to start your promotion at least 6 months before your event. If you're pursuing local media, a write-up in the newspaper, a plug on local segments of radio, or any number of specialized publications, the first question you'll need to answer is how is it relevant to their audience? If you have an exhibition whose content is focused on a particular theme, you might look for organizations that share that interest and see if you can get them to help you get the word out. One of the artists with the studio at Artworks Loveland, Jenny Milner, talks about what she calls the 3 C's of getting people to say yes. It's a lot easier to get attention or support for your work if it is cute, somehow involves children, or somehow involves a cause. Ideally, all 3. She can get all of the materials donated and a big write-up in the local paper when she has elementary school children paint a mural that's cute in support of a noble cause. Also know that most of the people who work in the media are overwhelmed working 2 or 3 jobs for very little pay. So you want to make it easy for them. Provide them the images, the quotes, and the copy that they can adapt to easily turn around and put in their publication. Images in particular are great because they fill up a lot of space and can be resized to fit around the ads in their listings. When you're researching who you want to send your materials to, look for the arts editor or the regional or local editor. There's also a website called Help a Reporter Out, where you can have yourself listed as an expert to potentially be contacted for a quote regarding an issue in the news. They aren't necessarily going to be talking about your work, but they might include your comments. The basic tool for letting the media know about your art event is the press release. You want to make sure that you explicitly answer the reporter questions: who, what, when, where, and why. You can try to answer how as well with the description of your process. You'll need a project description. You do want to include some information about your bio. Be sure to include image credits if someone other than you took the documentation of your work. You end the official announcement with either 3 hashtags or -30-, which is journalism code for end of story. Though if you look online at press release templates, you'll see that a lot of people like to sneak in extra information after that, non-topical information about the company, or that might be where they include the images embedded into the press release as opposed to as separate attachments. In your case, you likely want to include your images as separate attachments so that they can be high enough resolution that someone can print with them. You always want to use the phrase "for immediate release," and then write the headline for them. They might not use your headline, but you do want a brief, 1 sentence or less, description of what the event is, so that at a glance they can see whether or not they're interested in finding out more. Always send out press releases under the name of the organization, the gallery you're showing with, the museum you're presenting at, rather than from you as an individual. Tell them the what, a brief description of the nature of the event. Make sure that you distinguish between the dates of the event and the date that the press release is written. You do want to date the press release so that they can distinguish it from any updates that might come along later. But mostly, you want to make sure that they know when the thing you're bragging about is going to happen. For an exhibition, list not only the date of the exhibition opening, but also include the dates for the full run of the exhibition. Let them know physically where, which might mean you're repeating the organization's name, or a more detailed description of the venue. Then give the street address and a webpage if one has already been made for your event. You want to give them a contact name, phone number, and email. Probably this is the gallery director, the curator, or whoever handles publicity for the organization. Under the Just the Facts Ma'am block, you can include either an excited quote or a subheadline further explaining the event. Then you're going to get into the main body of the press release. You want to keep it short, but convention says the organization is pleased to announce whatever it is. It could be that you don't have an organization, in which case you just have to say local artist is pleased to announce. In the first paragraph, you want to make sure you include all the crucial information. What's the thing? Where is it happening? Why is it cool? And when's it going to be? As I mentioned, journalists are starved for time. Giving them interesting quotes in the press release makes their job a lot easier, and therefore the chances of you getting the attention you're looking for greater. In the second paragraph, you can include supplemental information, a brief summary of your artist's bio, some more of the language from your artist statement, or a further description of the work. Include other relevant information in the third paragraph. Perhaps you can talk about the venue, or the event's history, or its local impact. This might also be where you can tie in to current events or other happenings in the area. In the announcement portion, with either hashtags or a 30, information below the 30 might provide additional context, but isn't timely in the same way that the main body of the press release is.